What's up, Taiwan? I'm Jaime Ocon with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Taiwan's lawmakers just passed controversial reforms to expand legislative power, a move that sparked widespread protests inside and outside the chamber. Joyce Sung brings us the latest from the legislature in Taipei.
Another long day here at the legislature in Taipei. Lawmakers have completed the third and final reading of the KMT and TPP's proposal to expand legislative power. Now, this includes contested items like the punishment of contempt of legislature and the mandate of a presidential address in the legislature. Now, coming into today, the bills were actually pretty much all set. The second reading last week was really the last chance to change any of the bill's substance. On the table today were minor details like changes in punctuation, but again, we've been seeing strong protests from the ruling DPP's lawmakers all day. We see them shouting things and also throwing things at the speaker. That's the KMT's Han Kuo-yu. We've also seen thousands of their supporters outside of the legislative building, all maintaining the stance that these bills pose a threat to Taiwan's democracy. Now, the KMT and TPP, the parties pushing for these bills, which also include more oversight of the president, say that this is all meant to help increase transparency. They say being able to hold government officials accountable is important in a democracy. And though these bills have passed through this final stage, there's still a lack, though, a very little consensus between the camps. Joseph Wu, Devin Tsai, and Joyce Sun in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Thousands of people showed up throughout the day on Tuesday to protest the bills and what organizers are now calling the Bluebird movement. Irene Lin was there to hear from the protesters.
Well, inside the legislature, voting continues over controversial reforms to expand lawmakers' oversight powers. Here on the streets outside, thousands of people are gathering, with more expected to protest later. Many people come from across the country. They say they're worried that the bills aren't clear and that they have not been properly debated. They're accusing the opposition of not giving enough room for dissent and discussion.
我认为他们现在通过的法案会影响我们台湾的五权分立的民主。那它破坏所有的权力平衡之后，就变成行政也要听立法院的。那是不是立法院自己就变成国民大法官？
We think democracy is more about discussion, is more about compromising and negotiation instead of just using majority to pass laws that is favoring the majority parties.
And it's not just here in Taipei. Organizers say protests are happening across 15 cities and counties in what they're calling the Bluebird movement, a play on the name of the road where protests began a couple of weeks ago. It's the fourth day of demonstrations against the reforms. Almost exactly 10 years ago, Taiwanese youth started another mass political demonstration known as the Sunflower Movement against a Taiwan-China trade pact proposed by the then-ruling Kuomintang. Back then, the protesters also called the legislative process a black box. People here say these protests have a similar feel to the Sunflower Movement.
只要是没有正当的民主程序的话，我们人民或是青年学生都会主动的站出来，这并不是政党动员的。
我想这边应该大家不一定都是未必都是支持民进党的，对，但是守护台湾民主的这一点，是大家都共同的不变的。
Many people here today say they're not necessarily supporters of any specific parties. They say protecting democracy is a duty. Now, the Democratic Progressive Party, or DPP, holds the presidency but has a minority in the legislature. The DPP has called the bills unconstitutional and has vowed to seek a court interpretation, but people here are waiting for the result and if politicians hear the demands of those outside. Howard Zhang and Irene Lin for TaiwanPlus.
Some of Taiwan's biggest celebrities are expressing support for unification with China. And after just a week since President Lai Ching-te took office, Wesley Lewis looks at why these artists may feel pressured into making these statements now.
我们中国人嘛，来北京一定吃烤鸭的，还要吃什么呢？我们中国男生最热情了，对吧？
Towing the line, pop star Jolin Tsai and rock band Mayday are the most recent Taiwanese celebrities to refer to themselves as Chinese in front of cheering fans in China. Several other Taiwanese celebrities also shared online posts supporting unification and decrying Taiwanese independence on Chinese social media platform Weibo. These celebrity statements have triggered a heated debate in Taiwan.
有一点本末倒置，蛮不喜欢的，会影响对他的观感。
可能他们有他们的为难吧，不会不支持，对。但是我觉得那个就是个人的想法。
Taipei Mayor Jiang Wan-an says people have the right to their own opinions, and he wouldn't stop the singers from performing in the city.
我们是一个民主自由的国家，台北市更是一个多元开放的城市，我们怎么可能拒绝他们来演出？
President Lai Ching-te also urged Taiwan's public to show compassion towards the celebrities.
在别人的屋檐下，我们的文化工作者讲什么内容固然是一回事，但更重要的是他们内心想的是什么。我们应该给予谅解了。
Beijing views self-ruled Taiwan as part of its territory, and its new president, Lai Ching-te, as a dangerous separatist. The celebrity public statements and reshared posts come just a week after his inauguration, and the artist might have been pressured to make political statements.
Public figures such as celebrity or pop singer who come to develop their career in China will have to make the public statement that they will have to support the final reunification of Taiwan to the motherland. So it also highlights that the William Lai, the Lai Ching-te, who just inaugurated a few days ago, his remark was considered to be more provocative and try to seek the formal independence.
And this isn't the first time Taiwanese artists have made similar statements denouncing Taiwan independence. Analysts say it's part of Beijing's mission to convince Taiwan's public that independence is out of the question.
One Taiwanese female singer who developed her career in South Korea, her name is Zhou Ziyu. She was accused by the Chinese netizen as well as Chinese authority to hold Taiwan's national flag. So she was forced to make an apology, public apology, formal apology.
China's entertainment industry is projected to be worth nearly $500 billion by 2027. It is the biggest market for many of Taiwan's artists. Some have even moved there, and others might genuinely identify as Chinese. Which means, with big bucks on offer, these performers might not be the last to come out in support of Beijing's claims to Taiwan. Klein Wong and Wesley Lewis for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan is calling for its inclusion in the global health system as the World Health Assembly kicks off in Geneva. Taiwan has been denied observer status at the forum for the past 8 years due to pressure from China, which says it has the right to represent Taiwanese people at UN events. Taiwanese officials hosted a press conference on Monday to speak up for the country's right to participate.
我们许多的台湾的专业医事专业人士都担任国际医事组织的理事长、副理事长非常重要的职务，所以这就是一个很重要的一个资源。
An AI boom is leading Taiwan's economic growth, according to 2 new forecasts. The Taiwan Institute of Economic Research predicts GDP growth of 3.5% this year, up from its January figure. The country's Business Climate Monitor has also signaled a slight boom for the first time in 2 years. The rise comes despite global inflation and geopolitical tensions. The government says the healthy economic outlook is due to strong industrial production and high demand for Taiwan's AI and tech exports. Legislators in Taiwan are proposing paid leave for women who have early miscarriages. Currently, women who have a miscarriage within the first 3 months of pregnancy do not receive paid leave. Later miscarriages entitle women to 4 weeks of leave with full pay. The changes would provide 5 to 7 days of paid leave following an early miscarriage. The move has popular support, but the Labor Ministry says small businesses are worried it could hurt their operations.
对一个小型企业、微型企业，在它的那个成本负担上面会有一些担心。
Street vendors in Taiwan might soon have to change their ways. A new government trial is cracking down on plastic bag use. And as Chris Gorin reports, it's part of a push to make the country more eco-friendly.
Lively, cheap, and brimming with delicious food, Taiwan is known for its markets. And food bought from one of these vendors almost always comes in its own plastic bag. But that may change starting in July, as the government rolls out a trial to phase out plastic bags at markets. Some people here say they're ready for the change.
如果这是一个趋势，我们就变成势必要走向这样。如果是这样的政策，就要自己带啊。
Taiwan has been cutting down on plastic bags over the years, but the Environment Ministry says the country still uses about 10 billion bags each year. And annual plastic bag sales by weight has actually gone up by more than 40%. This level of plastic use leads to heaps of waste, which often washes up on beaches or breaks down into microplastics, which end up in our rivers and oceans, in our food, and in our bodies. The government began restricting plastic bag use several years ago. In most grocery stores, customers have to pay for plastic bags or bring their own reusable ones. But small market vendors have mostly been excluded from these rules. Under the new policy, vendors will be asked not to automatically hand out bags, while a full ban is planned for the future.
并无要求购用塑胶袋要付费才能取得，而是用鼓励的方式来改变民众的生活习惯。
Taipei's Ningxia night market is the first target for the plan. Plastic utensils have already been banned here, and vendors seem willing to help where they can.
袋子真的是用太多了，其实就是你买一个，然后你去别摊的话，然后就是一起放在一个就好。
消费者只要带提锅或者环保杯来，我们帮你打9折、打8折。那消费者也乐意来带着环保杯一起来跟我们做公益。
Taiwan is trying to meet international standards on waste reduction. While there's still a long way to go, these policies aim to preserve Taiwan's lively night market environment without harming the country's natural one. Alex Chun and Chris Gorin for TaiwanPlus.
An invention in Taiwan could help push green energy forward by extracting hydrogen gas from an abundant resource. John Ventrias has this story.
From ordinary seawater, an element that could transform the way the world powers itself. This machine strips hydrogen from water, leaving hydrogen gas that's up to 99% pure. This is a green source of power and something industries like semiconductors need. And unlike similar machines, it doesn't require the water to be desalinated, meaning the planet's abundant seas can supply the hydrogen, and not its limited freshwater reserves. This machine has other selling points too. It produces hydrogen at 1/100th of the cost of conventional methods, and there is little to none of the poisonous chlorine gas that conventional methods can yield as a byproduct.
现在比较采取的方式是用碱性的方式去做这件事，碱性的方式就会避开产生氯的电位，在化学上会有这个特色，所以我就会从海水直接得到氧气跟氢气这样。
Hydrogen is far from the only green source of energy out there, but unlike competitors like solar and wind, which must be used right away or stored in batteries, hydrogen is always there and ready for use as the need arises.
那未来我们的期许是说，在很多用不完的绿电，或者是说绿电发出来的时候是没有需要，没有那个时候正好没有需求，那我们可以利用它把它转换成氢气，储存起来，以备你需要的时候拿来用。
For now, this machine exists as a proof of concept, but its inventors hope to attract investment that will allow it to scale up, making a dent in the world's carbon emissions and helping bring a green future that much closer. Leon Lien and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Before we leave, check out these divers leaping off a 27-meter-high platform as they compete in the Cliff Diving World Series in Athens. I'm Jaime Ocon. Take care, and we'll see you next time.
For more news from Taiwan and around the world, download the TaiwanPlus app.